There are moments in life when everything feels heavy. You pray, but the answer seems delayed. You work hard, but the doors remain closed. You believe, but the storm around you refuses to calm down. And in those quiet moments, a dangerous thought begins to whisper in your mind. Maybe things will never change. But listen carefully today, because this message may be exactly what your spirit needs to hear. What if I told you that the season you are struggling through right now is not the end of your story? What if the delay you are experiencing is actually the final chapter before your breakthrough? Stay with me until the end of this message, because what you are about to understand could change the way you see your struggles forever. Because today, the message is simple but powerful. God says, your hard season is about to end. The first thing you must understand is this: every season has an expiration date. Winter does not last forever. The night never defeats the morning. Storms may shake the earth, but they always pass. And the same is true for the difficult season in your life. Sometimes God allows hardship not to destroy you, but to develop you. When Joseph was thrown into a pit, it looked like the end of his story. But the pit was only a passage to the palace. When David faced Goliath, it looked like a battle he could not win. But that giant was the doorway to his destiny. What feels like the hardest chapter of your life may actually be the moment God is preparing your greatest victory. The second truth you must hold on to is this: God is working even when you see nothing. Many people lose hope because they cannot see progress. But God does His greatest work behind the scenes. A seed planted in the ground looks like it disappeared. But beneath the soil, something powerful is happening. Roots are growing. Strength is forming. Life is preparing to break through the surface. In the same way, even when you cannot see it, God is arranging things in your favor. He's opening doors you cannot see yet. He's moving people into position. He's aligning opportunities you have not imagined. Just because you cannot see the miracle yet does not mean the miracle is not coming. Third, you must remember this powerful truth: your pain is preparing your promotion. Many people want the blessing, but they want to skip the preparation. But God knows that if the blessing arrives before the character is ready, it can destroy a person. So sometimes God allows the pressure, because pressure produces strength. The struggle is shaping your patience. The waiting is strengthening your faith. The challenges are building your resilience. And one day soon, you will realize something amazing. What once felt like a burden was actually building the person you needed to become. Fourth, faith during the storm determines the miracle. Anyone can believe when life is easy, but real faith appears when everything looks impossible. When the disciples were in the middle of the storm, the waves were crashing and fear filled their hearts. But the storm was not the end, because Jesus stood up and spoke just a few words: "Peace, be still." And suddenly the storm obeyed. In the same way, the storm in your life does not have the final word. God does. And when the right moment arrives, the same God who allowed the storm will also command the calm. Finally, hear this clearly. Your new season will surprise everyone. The people who saw your tears will soon see your joy. The people who saw your struggle will soon hear your testimony. Because when God changes a story, He does not do it quietly. He does it in a way that leaves no doubt that His hand was involved. And one day you will look back at this difficult season and say, if God had not allowed that season, I would never have become the person I am today. So if you are tired, if you feel like giving up, if the weight of life feels too heavy, hold on just a little longer, because the same God who carried you through the storm is the God who is about to lead you into your new season. And remember this, your hard season is not your final season. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. One of the most important truths you must hold in your heart during difficult times is this: every season has an expiration date. Nothing in life remains the same forever. Just as nature moves through cycles, your life also moves through seasons. There are seasons of joy, seasons of growth, seasons of waiting, and yes, seasons of hardship. But the powerful truth is that no season lasts forever. The storm that surrounds you today will not stay for the rest of your life. The pain you are feeling right now is not permanent. The struggle that seems endless has a limit that only God can see. When people walk through a hard season, the biggest mistake they make is believing that the situation they are in will never change. When disappointment continues for a long time, the mind begins to accept defeat. A person begins to think, maybe this is just my life now. Maybe things will always be this way. But that thought is not truth. That thought is the voice of discouragement trying to steal your faith. What you must understand is that God never designed hardship to be a permanent residence. It is only a temporary place of preparation. Think about winter. When winter arrives, the trees look lifeless. The ground becomes hard and cold. The air feels heavy and silent. If someone only experienced winter and knew nothing about the other seasons, they might believe the earth had lost its life forever. But those who understand seasons know something important. Winter may look permanent, but it is only temporary. Beneath the frozen ground, life is still present. Beneath the quiet surface, preparation is happening. And when the right moment arrives, spring suddenly appears. Flowers bloom, trees grow leaves again, and life returns in ways that seemed impossible just months before. Your difficult season works the same way. Right now, things may feel frozen. Opportunities may seem distant. Your prayers may feel unanswered. But just because you cannot see change yet, does not mean change is not coming. Beneath the surface of your circumstances, God is still working. There are things being arranged that you cannot see. There are doors being prepared that you have not yet reached. There are blessings moving toward you that have not yet arrived. Many times, the hardest part of a difficult season is the waiting. Waiting tests the heart more than almost anything else. When answers take longer than expected, people begin to grow tired. Faith begins to weaken. Hope begins to feel fragile. But this is the moment when understanding seasons becomes so important. When you know that every season has an end, you can endure the present moment with greater strength. You stop seeing the struggle as the end of the story and start seeing it as a chapter that will eventually close. Throughout life, some of the greatest transformations happen during the hardest seasons. A seed must first be buried in darkness before it becomes a tree. It must spend time hidden beneath the soil where no one can see it. During that time, the seed breaks open. From the outside, it might look like the seed is being destroyed, but in reality, it is being transformed. The breaking of the seed is what allows the life inside it to grow. Without that process, the tree could never exist. In the same way, difficult seasons sometimes feel like breaking moments in our lives. Dreams may feel delayed, plans may fall apart, circumstances may seem unfair. But what feels like breaking may actually be preparation. God often uses these seasons to build strength, patience, wisdom, and faith inside a person. These qualities cannot always be developed during easy moments. They are formed through endurance. If every path in life was smooth, people would never grow strong enough to carry the blessings they pray for. Sometimes the season of difficulty is shaping the character needed for the next level of life. It is building a foundation that will support the future God has prepared for you. This is why it is so important not to give up during a hard season. When people give up too early, they often walk away just before the season begins to change. Imagine someone leaving winter in the final days before spring arrives. They would miss the very moment they had been waiting for. Your situation today may feel heavy, but it is not permanent. The struggles that surround you right now are not the final chapter of your life. The delays you are experiencing are not the end of your story. Seasons always change, and when God decides that the season of testing has completed its purpose, a new season will begin. And when that new season arrives, the same life that once felt cold and silent can suddenly become full of growth, opportunity, and unexpected joy. The struggle will not define your entire story. It will simply become the chapter that prepared you for everything that comes next. There are moments in life when it feels like nothing is happening. You pray, you hope, you work hard, but everything around you appears silent. Days pass, weeks pass, sometimes even years pass, and the change you are expecting still has not arrived. During those moments, it is easy to believe that nothing is moving and nothing is improving. But one of the greatest truths you must understand is that God is still working even when you see nothing. Human beings often judge progress only by what they can see. If we do not see doors opening, we assume no doors exist. If we do not see opportunities appearing, we believe nothing is being prepared. But God does not work only in visible ways. Much of His work happens behind the scenes, in places we cannot observe, and through situations we do not yet understand. Think about how a seed grows. When a farmer plants a seed into the ground, it disappears beneath the soil. From the outside, nothing seems to be happening. If someone walked by that field the next day, they would see only dirt. If they returned a week later, they might still see nothing. To an impatient observer, it could look like the seed has failed. But beneath the soil, something powerful is taking place. The seed is breaking open. Roots are pushing deeper into the ground. Life is forming in silence. And when the moment is right, that hidden work suddenly becomes visible as the plant rises above the surface. Your life often follows the same pattern. There are seasons when God is doing deep work beneath the surface of your circumstances. During those seasons, you may not see immediate results, but that does not mean God is absent. In fact, those silent seasons are often the times when the most important preparation is happening. Sometimes God is arranging people who will enter your life at exactly the right moment. Sometimes He is opening opportunities that you cannot see yet. Sometimes He is protecting you from situations that could harm you if they happened too soon. And sometimes He is working inside your own heart, shaping your character and strengthening your faith so that you will be ready when the blessing finally arrives. One of the hardest challenges people face during silent seasons is the temptation to lose hope. When progress is not visible, discouragement can begin to grow. A person may start thinking, maybe God has forgotten about me. Maybe my prayers are not being heard. But silence does not mean absence. Just because you cannot see the work does not mean the work is not happening. Imagine a master builder constructing a great building. Before the walls rise high and the design becomes beautiful, there is a long process of preparation. Foundations must be laid deep into the ground. Measurements must be precise. Materials must be prepared. Much of this work happens before anyone sees the final structure. But without that hidden preparation, the building would never stand strong. In the same way, God often focuses on the foundation before revealing the blessing. He knows that what He is building in your life must be strong enough to last. If the blessing arrived before the preparation was complete, it might not stand the test of time. So He works patiently and carefully, arranging details that only He can see. Many people in history experienced long periods when it seemed like nothing was happening in their lives. They waited for opportunities, faced delays, and endured seasons of uncertainty. But later they realized that those quiet years were not wasted. They were the years when God was positioning everything for the future that was coming. What you must hold on to during these moments is faith. Faith is not simply believing when everything is visible. Faith is trusting even when the evidence has not yet appeared. It is the confidence that God's timing is perfect even when it feels slow. It is the assurance that what He has promised will eventually come to pass. The truth is that God sees the entire path of your life from beginning to end. While you can only see the moment you are standing in, He sees what is ahead. He knows when the right door will open, when the right person will arrive, and when the right opportunity will appear. And because He sees what you cannot see, His timing is often different from what you expect. But when the moment finally comes, everything that once seemed silent can suddenly move very quickly. Doors that remained closed for years can open in a single day. Opportunities that never appeared before can suddenly arrive all at once. And when that happens, you will realize that the waiting season was never empty. God was working the entire time, preparing a future that was greater than you could see. There are moments in life when pain feels confusing. When difficulties appear one after another, it becomes easy to ask the question, why is this happening to me? Many people see pain only as something negative, something that blocks their progress or steals their happiness. But there is a deeper truth that many people discover later in life. Pain is often the process that prepares a person for promotion. What feels like pressure today may actually be the very thing shaping you for the greater future that lies ahead. Most people desire success, growth, and blessing. But very few people understand the preparation required to carry those things. Blessings are not only gifts, they are also responsibilities. Opportunities require strength. Leadership requires wisdom. Influence requires character. If these things arrive before a person is ready, they can quickly become overwhelming. That is why preparation is so important, and often that preparation happens through difficult seasons. Think about how strength is built. Muscles grow stronger through resistance. When someone lifts a heavy weight, the muscle fibers experience stress and strain. In that moment, the process feels uncomfortable, even painful. But that pressure is exactly what allows the muscle to grow stronger over time. Without resistance, strength would never develop. The same principle often applies to life. The challenges you face may be the resistance that is strengthening your character. When life becomes difficult, it often forces a person to grow in ways they never expected. Hard seasons teach patience. When things take longer than planned, you learn how to endure. Hard seasons teach humility. When plans fall apart, you begin to rely on something greater than your own ability. Hard seasons teach wisdom. When mistakes happen or unexpected obstacles appear, you gain understanding that can guide your future decisions. These qualities are not easily learned during comfortable moments. When life is easy, people rarely change deeply. But when challenges appear, something inside a person begins to develop. Strength begins to grow. Faith becomes deeper. Character becomes stronger. And these qualities prepare you for opportunities that you may not even see yet. Sometimes, the path to something greater includes moments that feel like setbacks. A door may close. A plan may fail. A dream may feel delayed. But what looks like a setback may actually be a redirection towards something better. There are times when God allows a difficult experience because it leads to growth that could not happen any other way. Imagine someone preparing to lead others. Leadership requires patience, wisdom, and compassion. Without these qualities, leadership can easily become destructive instead of helpful. Now imagine if that person never experienced struggle, never faced challenges, and never learned how to endure hardship. When responsibility eventually arrives, they may not be prepared to handle it wisely. But if they have walked through seasons of testing, they understand life more deeply. They become more patient with others. They learn how to remain steady even when circumstances become difficult. In many cases, the pain a person experiences becomes the very thing that equips them to help others later in life. Someone who has overcome hardship often develops empathy and understanding that cannot be taught through simple lessons. Their experiences give them the ability to encourage people who are facing similar struggles. What once felt like suffering becomes a source of wisdom and strength. It is also important to remember that preparation often happens before the promotion becomes visible. Many people want the reward immediately, but growth takes time. Just as a builder must strengthen the foundation of a structure before adding higher levels, life often strengthens a person internally before lifting them to greater opportunities. When you look back on life, you may notice that the seasons you once wished would disappear were actually the seasons that changed you the most. The moments that tested your patience taught you endurance. The situations that challenged your faith pushed you to grow spiritually. The difficulties that once felt unfair helped shape the person you eventually became. Pain has a way of refining people. Just as fire purifies precious metals, difficult experiences can remove weaknesses and reveal inner strength. During those moments, it may not feel like growth is happening. It may simply feel exhausting or discouraging. But transformation is often taking place quietly. The important thing is to remember that your current struggle is not meaningless. There is purpose in the process, even when you cannot fully understand it yet. The lessons you are learning today may be preparing you for opportunities tomorrow that require the strength you are developing right now. One day you may find yourself standing in a place of influence, success, or blessing that once seemed impossible. And when you arrive there, you may realize something surprising. The very experiences that once felt painful were the experiences that prepared you to carry the responsibility of that moment. The struggle did not stop your progress, it shaped you for it. There are moments in life when everything around you feels calm and predictable. During those moments, it is easy to believe that faith is strong. When life is comfortable and things are going according to plan, believing feels natural. But true faith is not revealed during peaceful moments. True faith is revealed during the storm. When circumstances become uncertain, when problems rise unexpectedly, and when fear tries to take control of the mind. That is the moment when faith shows its real strength.